'tis the season of new foundations. There's been so many new releases, and I have one right here. This is the new NATASHA DENONA HY-GLAM foundation, and I'm gonna do a full day wear test today. And I also purchased the Makeup by Mario. I always confuse those two brands. Makeup by Mario new natural foundation. I have that one. Victoria Beckham new skin tint, that's arriving any day now. And I saw the Gucci just released a new face tint, so let me know if you want to see a review on that one. I'm curious, but I haven't purchased that yet, just in case you guys aren't interested. But yeah, there's lots of new foundation. Just reviewed the new Tom Ford foundation, and so once the releases slow down, I will do roundup video to talk about all the new releases and maybe even rank them. But today I am doing a full day wear test on the new NATASHA DENONA. So I ordered a couple different shades online from Sephora, and then they haven't arrived yet. By the way, it was supposed to arrive a couple days ago, but my local Ulta is carrying it in store, so I went to kind of swatch different foundations, and I decided to go with my just natural shade. I don't have any tan on my face. My body is still, as you can see, a little darker than my face. It's kind of left over from the beach, but I decided to pick the shade P3. And this is the bottle. It looks beautiful, this frosted glass and this really pretty top. It is kind of like a baby creamy pink, and it's beautiful. So make sure you subscribe down below so you won't miss out on all the new releases, and let's get started. A couple things about this foundation. It is $52. It comes in a ton of different shades, and you can purchase it at Sephora, at Ulta, and at NATASHA DENONA. I do have a code with NATASHA DENONA. It is just my name, Tania, T-A-N-I-A. It'll give you 10% off, so you can use that. I'll link it down below as well, or obviously Sephora and Ulta carries it. And this is supposed to be, from what I understand, a medium coverage foundation, very hydrating, very long wearing, creaseless, smoothing, all the stuff, and also radiant. So I'm curious how all of that will be mixed in one foundation, because if you have some radiance, usually you don't have a lot of kind of blurriness. But honestly, there's been some pretty good reviews on this foundation, and I'm excited, and I'm actually very curious how it compares to the new Tom Ford Architect Radiance foundation, because the claims are very similar and this is absolutely incredible. So curious about this one. Like I mentioned, I got the shade P3. I have the shade YN6 coming in mail, and another one which is going to be too light for me that I ordered. But I think this is going to be a perfect kind of natural everyday shade for me. This is it right there. So the texture is not very runny. Well, maybe it is. I didn't put enough. So it is quite runny. It's supposed to be a serum foundation. And I am not going to prep my skin at all. I just have my regular moisturizer on. And I did that maybe like 20 minutes ago. So I'm excited to try this out. I'm going to first use the brush and kind of soak up the foundation in it. And then we're going to go on to the skin. So the shade, I think, matches me pretty well. The closest out of the ones that I swatched that I thought maybe it would work for me. But I know the second I get a little bit of a tan, this probably won't work. But I have so many foundations that match my tan rather than my normal face. So I think it's good to have one. Okay, that looks absolutely beautiful. Wow. It's a very thin on my skin. So far, the coverage is medium. I like the color. It still looks a little bit off with my neck because my neck is so light. But again, my entire body is quite a bit more tan, and even my chest here, you can see that I think it'll match really well. Usually the neck is going to be the lightest part, because the sun doesn't hit it quite as much. So I'm just gonna bring this down. I love the way it feels. It feels very light, not heavy at all. And yes, I am applying it with a brush. I'm not putting it straight on my face. Yeah, I like that. And even though it's not necessarily a blurring foundation, doesn't completely blur all my pores, it does not emphasize them at all. It's actually very, very smooth over the pores, which is really nice. Yeah, that looks beautiful. It kind of looks like my skin with some radiance, and you can still see imperfection. I love a medium coverage. I don't love a full coverage. It's just a little too much for me. So this is really nice coverage. Even around the nose, I think it's doing such a good job. I forgot to mention that my skin type is kind of normal with a little bit of dryness, like around the nose or chin, but right now it's quite normal. It's not too oily because it's not hot anymore. Here is the foundation. It looks gorgeous, guys. It looks so good. And this is with nothing. You can see I have lots of little freckles, some imperfections, sunspots, and I think it like made it look so nice and smooth. Also, the color I think works overall pretty well. It still seems like just a little bit darker than like how fair I am right here, but it would match the rest of my body pretty well even in the winter time. I would rather it be just like half a shade a little darker because concealer will brighten it up and everything, than have it too light. It just makes me look a little ghostly. So that's just personal preference, but this looks so beautiful. Okay, let's do the other side. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Did I talk about the packaging? Maybe a little bit. The packaging is very, very nice. I'm slowly building this up. So you can see that the foundation wet is a little bit lighter, and then when it dries down just a smidge darker, which is a very normal when you test foundations. Make sure to let them dry because paint that's wet, it's going to look different than when it's completely dry. It's the same with foundations. I've seen some complaints about the Makeup by Mario one that, you know, it's much lighter and oxidizes, but it's not oxidation. It's just the foundation drying down. So when you swatch and you go in store and try to find your color, make sure you let it completely dry down. Mostly if it's a matte foundation, that will dry down much darker than when it's wet. With a glowy foundation, there shouldn't be such a big difference, but you can tell that it's just a little bit darker. Which, to be honest, when I bought this foundation the other day in store, first of all, the lights were ridiculous. Like, how can some makeup stores have such bad lighting where I couldn't tell? It was like a hit or miss. But I probably also didn't let it fully dry down before I picked the shade. But I am happy with the shade I picked. I think it'll be a good one. Okay, that is the foundation all applied. Should I build it up a little bit? I'm gonna just try to build it up on the cheek area. I think it said that it's a build-up foundation. So let's see what it can do. It does feel very light on the skin. It feels like a serum. It doesn't feel heavy at all. Comparing it to the Tom Ford, I think this is thinner the way it feels on the skin. The Tom Ford, I think it covered better though. I think that one was more fuller coverage than this. But you can build this up quite nicely. Okay, that's enough coverage. I don't want more coverage. Ooh, looks very flawless. Here is the foundation built up a little bit. And I still don't think it's a full coverage, but I do think it's a medium to full coverage. I think it looks so beautiful on the skin, radiant as you can see, but not too oily whatsoever. And once I put concealer on and just powder the T-zone, I will not powder any of this, but I will powder the T-zone. I think you're gonna see how beautiful overall the foundation is gonna be. That is stunning. The only claim that I can't really get behind is that it kind of smooths out the pores. And while it doesn't emphasize it, I don't necessarily feel like my pores are more blurred. I do think that Tom Ford does a better job at blurring the pores, but this one is so close. I also always add concealer and powder on that area, so I don't really care as long as it doesn't emphasize my pores. I don't care if it's like extremely blurring on the pores because I have other products that will do that. But so far this looks absolutely stunning. Of course, I have to use the High-Glam concealer. I actually have the shade P3 as well in the concealer, so hopefully this is gonna work. I'm gonna just add a little bit. This is a very nice concealer as well. It's a very kind of serumy and thin. And I think the colors are gonna work really, really well. Yeah, it's a little brighter than the foundation. That's a good combo. I am curious about that YN6 color that I purchased. I feel like that's gonna work for me really well as well. This is a little bit more peachy, and while I don't necessarily think I'm a peachy undertone, I'd rather be more peachy than too neutral. Every time I get a neutral foundation, it just looks pink on me, and I just like the warmth of the peach. So I'm curious about that YN because it has some yellow warmth and some neutral. And in store, that was the only swatch they did not have available. So I couldn't swatch it. Okay, that concealer works so well, and I truly don't think I want any more coverage than this. I think I look quite perfected, maybe a little bit more than I personally love. Should I put the Chanel powder or the La Prairie? Let's put the La Prairie. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of the La Prairie powder, and I will use a puff. Actually, I'm in a bit of a hurry, and so I'll do the rest of my makeup off camera just because I have somewhere to be. And I did sleep in a little bit today. I've been doing such a good job at waking up early, and you guys know I'm not a morning person. And so today Andrew let me sleep in a little bit, but it was the day that he should have woken me up, or I should have set an alarm clock. But it is what it is. I'm still gonna make it. I just was hoping to record a couple other things while I'm testing this foundation, and I don't think that's gonna be the case. Okay, so just a little bit of this powder. You can see how I didn't take any of the glow from here. It's just around my T-zone, and I always do this. I need to set the T-zone, otherwise I don't like the way it looks. You know, I don't love glow right in the center. Here is the base all done with concealer and a little bit of powder in the T-zone, and you can still see the glow where I didn't touch up with powder. We have glow right here. That's so beautiful. Here as well. So I think it looks really nice. I do like the concealer from NATASHA DENONA, but I will say it's not my top favorite concealer in my collection. I prefer the Hourglass or the Kulfi or a couple other concealers over this one. And the only reason is that sometimes I kind of see it on my skin a little bit more than I would like to. So that's just personal preference. So when I look in the mirror right now, I kind of feel like I see a little bit more under my eyes that I would personally like. But it's still very nice. Besides that, everywhere it doesn't feel or look like I'm wearing much, but it's obviously very perfected. The one thing I will do is spray my face because I do it every single time, so it's only fair to do it when I test the foundation. But let me go finish the rest of my makeup and I'll show you how it looks like. Here is the foundation with everything on. What I used on my face, cheeks, and all of that is the new Hourglass Ambient palette. This is in Color Story #1. And I used everything because I did record a quick reel. So there is a little bit of a glow that comes from these powders. I try to be very conservative with applying them so you could still see how the foundation performs. So let's do a zoom in. Here is how the foundation looks like with just everything on. I think it's a very smooth. I wouldn't say it feels heavy at all. Now I do wear a tiny bit more makeup than I normally do, so I do feel like I have makeup on my face, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily from the foundation. I like a lot of creams and those don't feel as heavy as powders. So, you know, when you wear a ton of different powders on your face, you may feel a little bit more, but it's still so smooth, so beautiful. The only thing that I've noticed is that the foundation still feels not tacky necessarily. I think that scares people when I say that, but it doesn't feel completely set down and matte. So I'm not sure if I should set everything. I try to not kind of touch this area with powder, but right here I can kind of feel it a little bit. I don't see any transfer so far, but I will keep you guys updated. I think the pores look nice. I think the forehead looks pretty much flawless. The cheek, pretty much everything. But I do want to set this with the Charlotte Tilbury, and this is a mini one. I'm just gonna set this. I do this every time I wear makeup. I set my makeup. I need a little bit more on this side. And I have quite a lot of things to do. I have to go to like a little party. I have to go to the mall. I'll be out and about all day. And I really want my makeup to look really good. So far, it looks so beautiful. And I have a little fan. Let's try this fan. My kids always use it, so it's always out of battery, but today is my lucky day. By the way, on my eyes, I do have this quad from Chanel. This is their newest release, and I think it's back in stock. Now, I put very little of it, but I do really enjoy this one. So this is the finished makeup and the foundation. Everything looks absolutely gorgeous. And I will wear it throughout the day and give you natural light check-ins. It's actually raining all day, which I kind of love. But yeah, it's rainy and cloudy, so we'll see what light we can get. But so far, so good. I think the foundation looks absolutely flawless and beautiful on the skin. And I have no complaints, honestly. I don't smell anything, but I do have a pretty strong perfume on, so I'm not sure if it has a scent. I can't detect any scent. So that is the new Natasha Denona foundation. I will see you guys in just a little bit. First check-in, and I am in the car. It is a little cloudy, so I'm going to try to come as close to the windshield as possible. Also, my windows are tinted quite dark, so I feel like not a lot of light gets in, but I do want to show you the foundation, and overall, as you can see, it looks so beautiful. Hopefully you guys can tell, but I will zoom you in real quick. So here we are up close. I feel like the forehead looks nice, and this area looks so beautiful. The one thing that I wanted to show you is right here. So where I have my smile lines, right, when I smile, it has settled into that right there. Is it awful? No. It's not so much on this side, but I have more of a smile line. I think I talk more on this side. But I have noticed it like immediately when I looked in the mirror. And that's the only negative thing that I want to say about this foundation, or that I have to say about this foundation, is that in this area it's settled. Knowing that, I probably would probably just not put so much foundation there, because remember I did layer it a little bit, which I normally probably wouldn't do. But this did not happen with my Tom Ford foundation, for example. So where I have like more wrinkles, it didn't get into that. But besides that, it looks smooth. It looks literally flawless. And it is 2:30 right now. I think I put this foundation early in the morning, around 9, I want to say. So it's been quite a few hours, and I've been out and about. It's raining outside also. So overall, I think it lasted so well, besides this one little area. And I feel like I could probably maybe just kind of top it and smooth it out. However, now that I touch it, it feels set. It feels like this foundation's not gonna move. It's not gonna budge. It's not gonna go anywhere. So I'm not sure if it will even move to blend in at all. Sorry, I feel like it's so dark. So that is the first update. I don't expect this foundation to move at all. It feels almost sealed to my face. So yeah, that's a good thing. Overall, I love it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, very perfected, and the color looks nice, right? I think so. And that's it. I'll see you guys in probably like 4 hours or so later in the day. I'm gonna go have some coffee. I picked up some desserts, so yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Andrew and edit and work and do some stuff, and then I'll be out in Nashville. I have to do a couple errands there, and that's it. I'll see you in a little bit. Second check-in in natural light, and this may be my last one because it's about 6 o'clock and it's starting to get dark at 7 here, so we'll see. The foundation, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it has definitely gotten a little bit glowier. Like there's a lot more glow right here, even on the forehead, around this area, around the mouth. I'm actually gonna zoom you in. Here's the forehead. I think the forehead still looks nice, just a little bit more oilier. Now here is where I notice it a little bit more, that because of the oil, I feel like I see the pores a little bit more. Right here as well, nothing tragic. Around the mouth, you can kind of see the pores here. Again, I'm zooming in pretty close and it's 4K, so it's gonna pick up everything, hopefully. So I don't think that this is bad at all, but I will say that Tom Ford, and I know that one's almost double the price, has performed better than this one. And they have very similar like qualities to it, and they're both radiant, long lasting, kind of similar coverage. And I think that that was doing a little bit better around this time. But I am not mad at this one. I still think it's really beautiful. Overall, I think it looks nice, but it's definitely making me want to powder or take a towel or a paper towel or something and kind of clean up just this area a little bit. But that's it. That's the second check-in. My hand actually hurts holding the camera. It's just like old injuries. That's it for now. I'll see you tonight. The day is finally done, and I feel like it's been a long day. Not a bad one. It's been a good day, just long. So I'm excited to take the makeup off, maybe take a bath. That kind of sounds lovely. But before we do that, I got to talk about this makeup. So I have some thoughts on this. You know, I think we started really strongly, and then a couple of things happened. Like I showed you guys, it seemed like the foundation was kind of getting a little bit into my smile line. Nothing tragic, honestly. It doesn't bother me much, but then it kind of started getting a little bit glowier, and because of that, I feel like the pores got emphasized quite a bit. First of all, the foundation is still there. I think the foundation has stayed overall pretty good. This area right here looks so beautiful and pretty much flawless. All of this, even the forehead, it's just when it's starting to get into the pore area and around the mouth that it's kind of starting to just look like there's foundation there and emphasizing the pores. But that being said, the foundation wore for majority of the day really well. The fact that this foundation is still on my face, it's still looking somehow decent after a full day of wear, I think that's impressive. And overall, I think the foundation is very, very good. If you have a lot of wrinkles, I'm not sure how this will work. I would love to kind of hear your thoughts. The reason I'm saying that is because the one line that I have on my face, it emphasized that quite a bit, but nothing else, nothing around my eyes, around here where I get some smile lines. You know, even here when I frown, like it hasn't gotten into it. I just feel like it's just more obvious on my skin. And so the more my oils were coming in, I think it was kind of messing up the foundation a little bit. Maybe this foundation is great for drier skin, normal. I feel like if you have oily skin, you're probably not going to want a foundation that's radiant to begin with. And it seems like the oils and the foundation are not meshing very well, because that's the only place where it didn't look great. But I do think overall the foundation's great. I think it performed throughout the day really well. It made my skin look super flawless. I do think that building it up made it feel a little thicker. And I want to say that that may be the case for it kind of just looking a little bit heavier on the cheeks. And so I'm going to continue to test this out. I think I'm going to wear it again and just put a lighter layer and not build it up. And I think I'm really going to enjoy that. The last thing I'm going to mention about this foundation that is a huge positive is just the longevity. The longevity for a radiant foundation is incredible. Like, it did not budge anywhere on my skin. Yes, you know, I'm seeing it a little bit more, but it's not separated. It did not move anywhere. There's not like empty splotches on my face where there's no foundation. This has stayed on all day long. And I think pairing this with a more smoothing pore filling primer will make this foundation perform even better and kind of help with those pores. But if pores aren't your problem, I think this foundation is incredible. If you made me choose between the Tom Ford and the Natasha Denona, I would go for the Tom Ford. This didn't give me these issues, you know, like the pores looked smoother, but it is almost double the price, and it does have a scent to it. It's not super intense, but it's there. So I'm just saying this because I've compared this foundation to the Tom Ford quite a bit, and I still would choose Tom Ford, but I understand that that is almost double the price, and this performs so well that, you know, pair this with one of your primers that you have if you have pore issues or lines, and I think that this will work really well. And those are my thoughts on the new Natasha Denona foundation. I think she redeemed herself with this foundation because the last one, it was not a good one, but she did amazing with this one. And I do want to know your thoughts on it and how it performed on you. It probably performed different than it performed on my skin. Pores are one of my biggest issues. So seeing that isn't super alarming, but it is something to note. But I do want to know your thoughts on that. So hopefully you have a good one. Come back hopefully tomorrow for my Makeup by Mario, like full foundation review. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.